Good day to everyone. Today, we will be discussing about an overview on operations management. Operations management is the business function that plans, organizes, coordinates, and controls the resources needed to produce a company's goods and services. It is a set of activities that creates values in the form of goods and services by transforming inputs into outputs. Operations management is chiefly concerned with planning, organizing, and supervising in the context of production, manufacturing, or the provision of services, ensuring that an organization successfully turns inputs into outputs in an efficient manner. OM is the design, operation, and improvement of the systems that creates and deliver the firm's primary products and services. Operations management is a vital component in any organization. Without a highly efficient operational capacity, any business would be vulnerable to competition and would find an overall cost of its business unviable. Transformation process. A transformation process is any activity or group of activities that takes one or more inputs, transforms and adds value to them, and provides outputs for customers or clients. In the economic sense, inputs are labor, capital, and management, which are integrated into a production system to produce desired outputs in the form of goods and services. Where the inputs are raw materials, it is relatively easy to identify the transformation involved, as when a milk is transformed into cheese and butter. Where the inputs are information or people, the nature of the transformation may be less obvious. For example, a hospital transforms ill patients into healthy ones. Transformation includes changes in the physical characteristics of materials or customers, changes in the location of materials, information, or customers, changes in the ownership of materials or information, storage or accommodation of materials, information, or customers, changes in the purpose or form of information, and changes in the physiological or psychological state of customers. The main difference between service and manufacturing organizations are the tangibility of their output, production on demand or for inventory, customer-specific production, labor-intensive or automated operations, and the need for physical production location. However, in practice, service and manufacturing organizations share many characteristics. Many manufacturers offer their own service operations and both require skilled people to create a profitable business. Tangibility of output. The key difference between service firms and manufacturers is the tangibility of their output. The output of a service firm such as consultancy, training, or maintenance, for example, is intangible. Manufacturers produce physical goods that customers can see and touch. Production on demand. Service firms, unlike manufacturers, do not hold inventory. They create a service when a client requires it. Manufacturers produce goods for stock with inventory levels aligned to forecasts of market demand. Some manufacturers maintain minimum stock levels, relying on the accuracy of demand forecast and their production capacity to meet the demand in a just-in-time basis. Inventory also represents a cost for a manufacturing organization. Customer-specific production. Service firms do not produce a service unless a customer requires it. Although they design and develop the scope and content of services in advance of any orders, service firms generally produce a service tailored to customers' needs, such as a 12 hours consultancy, plus 14 hours of design, and 10 hours of installation. Manufacturers can produce goods without a customer order or forecast of customer demand. However, producing goods that do not meet market needs is a poor strategy. Labor requirement and automated processes. A service firm recruits people with specific knowledge and skills in the service disciplines that it offers. Service delivery is labor intensive and cannot be easily automated. Although knowledge management systems enable a degree of knowledge capture and sharing, manufacturers can automate many of their production processes to reduce their labor requirements, although some manufacturing organizations are labor intensive, particularly in countries where labor costs are low. Physical production location. Service firms do not require a physical production site. The people creating and delivering the service can be located anywhere. For example, global firms such as consultants use communication networks to access the most appropriate service skills and knowledge from services around the world. Manufacturers must have a physical location for their production and stockholding operations. Production does not necessarily take place in the manufacturer's own site. It can take place in any point in the supply chain. Differences between goods and services. Services are usually intangible as opposed to tangible goods. Services are often produced and consumed simultaneously. There is no stored inventory. For instance, a beauty salon produces a haircut that is consumed simultaneously, or the doctor produces an operation that is consumed as it is produced. We have not yet figured out how to inventory haircuts or appendectomies. Services are often unique. Your mix of financial coverage, such as investments and insurance policies, may not be the same as anyone else. Services have high customer interaction. Services are often difficult to standardize, automate, and make as efficient as we would like because customer interaction demands uniqueness. In fact, many cases, this uniqueness is what customer is paying for. Therefore, the operations manager must ensure that the product is designed or customized so that it can be delivered in the required unique manner. Services are often knowledge-based, as in the case of educational, medical, and legal services, and therefore hard to automate. Services are frequently dispersed. Dispersions occurs between services are frequently brought to the client or customer via local office, a retail outlet, or even a house call. Goods are material items that the customers are ready to purchase for a price. Services are the amenities, benefits, or facilities provided by the other persons. Goods are tangible items. They can be seen or touched, whereas services are intangible items. When the buyer purchases the goods by paying the consideration, the ownership of goods moves from the seller to the buyer. Conversely, the ownership of service is non-transferable. The evaluation of services is difficult because every service provided has a different approach of carrying out services. Goods can be returned to or exchanged with the seller, but it is not possible to return or exchange services once they are provided. Goods can be distinguished from the seller. On the other hand, services and the service provider are inseparable. A particular product will remain same regarding physical characteristics or specifications, but services can never remain the same. Goods can be stored for future use, but services are time-bound. If not availed in the given time, then it cannot be stored. All the goods are produced when they are traded and finally consumed, whereas services are produced and consumed at the same time. There are two operations management decisions: strategic decisions and tactical decisions. Strategy defines your long-term goals and how you're planning to achieve them. In other words, your strategy gives you the path you need toward achieving your organization's mission. This type of planning is often carried out by the organization's top management and usually creates goals for the entire organization. It analyzes the threats to the organization, evaluates the organization's strengths and weaknesses, and creates a plan of how the organization can best compete with its environment. Strategic planning usually has a long time frame of 3 years or more. Tactical planning is the short-term planning of an objective that will take a year or less to achieve. It is usually carried out by an organization's middle management. Tactical decision is usually aimed at a specific area or department of the organization such as its facilities, production, finance, marketing, or personnel. Tactics are the properly organized actions that help to achieve a certain end. The strategy is the integrated plan that ensures the achievement of the organization's objectives. Tactics is a subset of strategy. Without the strategy, tactics can do nothing. Tactics try to find out the methods through which strategy can be implemented. Conversely, strategy is a unified set of activities that can help the organization to gain an advantageous position. Tactics are formulated by middle-level management, whereas top-level management formulates a strategy. Tactics involve lower risk as compared to strategy. Tactics are preventive in nature, while strategy is competitive in nature. Tactics are defined as a trip, typically for short duration, but strategy is a journey that lets the company travel from one position to another. Hence, it is for a long duration. Tactics frequently change with the changes in the market conditions. However, the strategy remains same for a long period. Tactics have a reactive approach unlike strategy. Tactics are made for coping with the present situation. In contrast, strategy are made for the future. The four basic functions of management are planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. These functions work together in the creation, execution, and realization of organizational goals. Managers first need to develop a plan, then organize their resources, and delegate responsibilities to employees according to the plan, then lead others to efficiently carry out the plan, and finally evaluate the plan's effectiveness as it is being executed and make any necessary adjustments. In the planning stage, managers establish organizational goals and create a course of action to achieve them. During the planning phase, management makes strategic decisions to set a direction for the organization. While planning, managers typically conduct in-depth analysis of the organization's current state of affairs, taking into consideration its vision and mission and evaluating what resources are available to meet the organizational objectives. Managers usually evaluate internal and external factors that may affect the execution of the plan, such as economic growth, customer and competitors. They also establish a realistic timeline for achieving the goal or goal based on the organization's available finances, personnel, and resources. The purpose of organizing is to distribute the resources and delegate tasks to personnel to achieve the goals established in the planning stage. During the organizing stage, managers strive to create a work environment conducive to productivity. Managers typically take employees' motivation and aptitude into account to match employees with roles and tasks that best fit their abilities. When assigning team member roles, managers should explain and ensure that employees understand their individual duties. To help employees feel engaged and productive, managers should ensure that employees are assigned an appropriate amount of work and an appropriate amount of time to complete their work. Leading. Leading consists of motivating employees and influencing their behavior to achieve organizational objectives. Leading focuses on managing people such as individual, employees, teams, and groups rather than the task. Though managers may direct team members by giving orders and directing to their team, managers who are successful leaders usually connect with their employees by using interpersonal skills to encourage, inspire, and motivate team members to perform the best of their abilities. Managers can foster a positive working environment by identifying moments when employees need encouragement or direction and using positive reinforcement to give praise when employees have done their jobs well. And lastly, controlling. Controlling is the process of evaluating the execution of the plan and making adjustments to ensure that the organizational goals is achieved. During the controlling stage, managers perform tasks such as training employees as necessary and managing deadlines. Managers monitor employees and evaluate the quality of their work. They can conduct performance appraisals and give employees feedback, providing positive remarks on what they are doing well and suggestions for improvement. They may also offer pay raise incentives to high performing employees. The following are the 10 critical decisions operations managers do. Service and product design. What good or service should we offer? How should we design these products and services? Quality management. How do we define quality? Who is responsible for quality? Process and capacity design. What processes and what capacity will these products require? And what equipment and technology is necessary for these processes? Location. Where should we put the facility? On what criteria should we base the location decision? Layout design. How should we arrange the facility and material flow? How large must the facility be to meet our plan? Human resources and job design. How do we provide a reasonable work environment? How can we expect our employees to produce? Supply chain management. Should we make or buy this component? Who are our suppliers and who can integrate into our e-commerce program? Inventory, material requirements, planning, and just in time. How much inventory of each item should we have? When do we reorder? Intermediate and short-term scheduling. Are we better off keeping people in the payroll during slowdowns? Which job do we perform next? And lastly, maintenance. Who is responsible for maintenance? When do we do maintenance? These are the 10 key decisions made by the operations managers. The ability to make good decisions in these areas and allocate resources to ensure their effective execution goes on a long way toward an efficient operations function.